Hello, this is BlueStar, Defender of Equestria, and this is my afterthought review of A Flurry of Emotions. It was actually pretty good, it was funny, it's like, oh, poor Twilight, oh. Yeah, I think, overall, I kind of like this episode. It's certainly fun. I mean, it's certainly, I think it's definitely nice seeing Twilight being like, oh, yay, 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 around Flurry Heart. It's like, aw, Twilight's happy. That's just so nice and everything. Aw. Oh yeah, definitely the parents in the audience absolutely understand this episode because they've almost certainly been through exactly what Twilight's been through. Of course, minus the magic part, so. Because yeah, it's like, you know, stuff will happen and, oh dear, and, you know, it's easy to basically just, you know, just take on too much. It's like, well, I don't want to disappoint them, but, you know, sometimes, you know, you actually are disappointing them, because yeah, the short answer is that, you know, Twilight was unable to really, you know, give Flurry Heart the attention that she really deserves, and definitely, you know, watching a child, especially very young children, is a full-time job. You can't be literally doing two things at once. You really got to give your full attention to that child. You can't be literally reading a story while watching a child. You can't do both. I think I will say this because yeah, it's like you know, one of my relatives just had a baby, and I thought that, oh, well, I'm not gonna be busy all the time. I'll be able to work a little bit on a video or something, like writing a script for a video or something. But then they needed me to watch the child. You know, just it's not like I had to change the kid's diapers or anything. It's like just watch the kid, make sure he doesn't eat his toys and stuff. Sort of a thing. So, but yeah, I thought, oh, maybe I might be able, but that's like, there was no way was I gonna be able to work on a script and stuff and watch the kid at the same time. There's no way. That's one of those things that sometimes you have to pick. You can't do both. You simply have to pick one. So yeah, so I definitely understand that, and yeah, a lot of the adults were saying you could see that coming from a mile away. And yeah, there's a lot of, in a way, obvious problems. Like, why doesn't Twilight just have say, okay, Spike, you know, you go buy the toys, do all that stuff, I'll stay here, watch Flurry Heart. Well, that would have been the sensible and the correct thing to do, to be honest, but it's one of those things that would have killed the story, and that would have, yeah, it's like they're trying to teach this lesson, you know, of doing too much, so Twilight has to basically make that mistake, so yeah. But honestly, I think this is a pretty legit and honest mistake to make. It's like, Twilight wants to prove that she's the best aunt ever, so it's like, okay, yeah, I've got a lot to do, but I will do it because I want to prove that I can, but she can't, so, oh dear. For some reason, it reminds me of, a line from Fraggle Rock. It's not exactly this lesson, but still applies. But it's like the first line is that, you know, if you want to help, just help. But if you don't want to help, don't promise that you will. But I think the more appropriate line would be to modify it a little bit and say, is like, if you're unable to help, don't promise that you will. Because, you know, because you can't. And it's just going to let people down. So, yeah, so I think that was almost the lesson that Twilight had to learn here, and, oh dear, but the good news is she did learn it. It certainly was nice to see Flurry Heart again, and, you know, it's just so cute, and, oh my gosh, I think Flurry Heart is the definition of OP. It's like, my gosh, it's like, she's got all these crazy adult powers that most unicorns don't even have. You know, I think Shining Armor and Cadence, if they survive, you know, parenting Flurry Heart, they usually get a medal for, like, you know, parenting the most difficult child ever, you know, because it's like, she's got all these crazy powers, and it's just like, it'd be really hard to keep her under control. I almost disagree with Dr. Wolf on this one. It's like, I really think that they need to do something about these magic powers, if not for their sanity, but almost for their self-preservation. Ooh. When we first see Flurry Heart, she almost zaps her own mother. It was a sneeze and an accident, but I almost went to focus on video on this. Can you restrict, you know, the magic of a unicorn? I think the answer is yes, because we saw it with Sombra and Shining Armor. But the other question would be, when would it be appropriate to? Because I think it'd be, you know, be a pretty horrible thing to restrict a unicorn's magic, just like it'd be pretty horrible to, like, you know, like tie up a Pegasi's wings so they can't fly. But, you know, in some cases that might be appropriate to do that, but that's something, a topic for another video. But yeah, but it's just like, my gosh, it's like, you know, she's just, I mean, it's like, it's really hard, particularly in this case, is because, you know, Flurry Heart's not bad. She's just a child. She's, you know, but she doesn't know any better, and it's just as simple as that. It's, you know, that's really tough. Like at the part at the end where Twilight has to basically be firm. He's like, put us down this instant. You know, it's like she has every reason to be angry because you know, Flurry Heart's put all these ponies in danger essentially. You know, but of course she's a baby. She doesn't know any better. She, you know, and all that. But that's really hard. I mean. Aww, but you know, obviously something had to be done. She had to be stopped because it's like, oh, I definitely feel for the poor kids. It's like, it's bad enough that all these poor kids are so sick they had to be hospitalized. Now they're in this, you know, they're like, ah, floating around and stuff. It's like, oh, poor kids. But yeah, it's like, oh, it's like poor Twilight. It's like, you're not scared of me, are you? It's like, oh. The good thing is that Twilight is immediately realizing her mistakes and realizing, oh, I'm sorry, Flurry Heart. But, you know, it's like, but again, I find that really hard because, yeah, that was definitely a time Twilight absolutely had to be firm, but, dear, oh dear. So it's, you know, it's like the difficulties of parenting. You know, it's one of the things of parenting is that there's no absolutes, and, you know, sometimes it's easy to go too far or not do enough. It's, you know, figuring out the balance and just working it out, figuring it out, and all that. So, but, you know, overall, I think this episode was okay. I think it was really nice to see Flurry Heart and Shining Armor and Cadence and everything, and I think this was a worthwhile lesson to teach. I mean, it does feel like this is aimed a little bit more at the adults, because this is definitely a very adult problem. Specifically the other one of, where for Shining Armor and Cadence of communication, of like, you know, it's like, you can't just expect people to just like, you know, to walk up to their door and just, you know, take care of your kid without any kind of notice at all. I mean, it's like, because yeah, we're all busy, we all have things to do and stuff. It's like you want me to take care of your kid like now? I mean, some cases like, okay, I'll do. I was planning to go out and just, you know, chill out, but okay, I'll help you out. But this was different for Twilight. This is quote unquote an official function. She can't just say no, sorry, sorry, kiddies. No, I mean she could, but that wouldn't be very good for the kids or her image and stuff. But you know. And again, it's one of those things that, you know, Cadence understands. She's a princess too. He's like saying, well, I have a prior engagement. I have to go to the hospital and, you know, read stories to the kids. It's like, oh, okay, I understand, Twilight, you know. I mean, it's like, I think I'm going to go into a couple of these things, like, you know, kind of like problems in this episode that aren't really problems because it's like, it's technicality kind of stuff. It's like Shining Armor and Cadence basically rule the Crystal Empire. They have like a whole castle pretty much of ponies that would be willing to do whatever they want. Didn't they have somebody else that could babysit? Another kind of big one is that, you know, it's sort of like almost in a way compounding, you know, Twilight's mistake of bringing Flurry Heart along with her on all these errands and stuff was Twilight brought an infant pony into a room full of very sick ponies. That's generally not a good idea. You know, it's like you generally don't want to expose really young children to, you know, lots of sick children. It's like she's like guaranteed they get sick, and at that age that could be bad, you know. So oh dear. But then again, Flurry Heart is so crazily overpowered that maybe she won't get sick even from that. And of course there's also the sort of, what was it, the magic health bubble, which in some ways one of the things of like, that would be great, you know. It's like that would be great, not just for the kids but for the parents. It's like, we'll never pick up the kids' germs. Yes. But that feels like that'd be cheating though. That feels too easy. I don't know. And again, it's like Twilight could have, you know, asked one of the main six for help. She could have asked Spike to, you know, like, you know, go take care of the errands. I'll stay here, watch Flurry Heart. But again, those things would have killed the story. There'd be no story here at all if she did that. So it's just one of those things. And in some ways, again, I think I find that understandable. It's like, you know, sometimes you can also get tunnel vision. It's like, this is my problem and only I can handle it or deal with it. But again, all those other things, yeah, it's like exposing an infant to really sick ponies and all those things. It's like, it's not really problems. It's one of those things that if you think about it a lot, then, you know, they're not really problems. It's not like they break the story or anything. It's just me overthinking it. But but doesn't mean that we should excuse problems or issues or things. But still, I think that's okay. I think everything will be all right, though. I mean, there were moments of this episode that were a little bit confusing. I think the big one was when Twilight was in Sugar Cube Corner, because my brain was not functioning fast enough to keep up with this. It's like, oh, it's like, wait, can you do apology treats? It's like, what? Huh? I didn't even catch that the first time. It's like I realized, oh, she's getting apology treats for, you know, Cheryl, the shop owner. Okay. It's like that makes the end of this episode make so much more sense. It's like sad cake. How can cake be sad? It's not. Well, it's not sad cake. It's sort of. It's. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, cake. Because obviously it's like the poor kid. Hey, that Flurry heart almost destroyed the hospital. And again, yeah, that moment with the pony. It's like say, ah, it's like, ah. That was great. Oh dear, poor guy. Oh well. Oh no, I had a thought. I wonder if this means that Flurry Heart will become a dentist. And that made the end scenes make so much more sense. It's like why Spike is here, why he's reading this story by himself. I didn't even realize at the time. It's like, oh, they have a giant cake here. Why do they have a cake here? Oh, because didn't they have cupcakes before? It's like, no, this is a whole apology by Twilight. You know, it's like I'm gonna send you an apology cake, and you know, have Spike read you some stories and stuff. I thought that's actually pretty nice and all that. And of course, in some ways, you know, another big thing for me was kind of the Royal Guard again. It's like, I think we've had more references to the Royal Guard, I think, in the last few episodes than we've had in, like, the entire series, I guess. Oh, sort of. I think I want to talk briefly about him and his art in 1,000 Nights in a Hallway. At first I thought, but it's just a big black square. But then I thought, oh, wait a minute. You know, if you were a guard in the middle of the night in a dark hallway somewhere, it's gonna be pitch black. You're not gonna be able to see a darn thing. So, interesting. So I can understand that there is nothing more darker. Shining Armor is like, yeah, totally, I understand. It's like, of course, he's probably, at some point was probably the guard in the hallway in the middle of the night, so it's like, he understands. And I kind of like, what was it, Spearhead? Ouch. What a name, I guess. But I kind of like Spearhead. He seems like the guy, you know, served a couple tours in the Royal Guard, but now he's enjoying civilian life as an artist. I like that. There's just something kind of cool about that. For some strange reason, I identify with that, even though I'm not a member of the military or anything like that. But I found that cool. I like that. That was interesting. And while he has the same hair as, like, the basic hair as the Royal Guard, he's not basically one of the standard colors and stuff. He's not like white or brown. He's sort of like an orangey color, which I think was kind of cool. And his artwork also seems to be related to the Royal Guard, which makes sense. He's a Royal Guard, so, or was, is, I don't know. And, you know, I like it. I like that he's like, you know, I am pleased that, you know, it's like this art spoke to you. It's like he wasn't invoking, he didn't get the emotion that he was expecting to invoke, but he invoked emotion and memories. It's like, that's just so cool for him, yo! So that was all cool, but I think my favorite part about this episode was at the end where it's like Shining Armor and Cadence are like, it's like, this one reminds me of Flurry Heart's hair. It's like, this one reminds me of her too. But house up. It's small, like she is. It's like the parents are having separation anxiety. I don't know if that's quite the way to put that, but it's like the parents miss the baby. Oh, that's so touching and so nice. But at the same time, Flurry Heart doesn't really have any kind of separation anxiety. She doesn't at all, which is kind of surprising. And it's like Shining Armor and Cadence are almost disappointed to see Flurry Heart having such a good time with Twilight. It's like almost like, it's like, well, she's having fun without us. Aw, it's like, don't worry, you're still mommy and daddy, so don't worry, Shining Armor and Cadence, it'll be okay. But, you know, it's like, I thought that was just so fun and everything. I thought that was cool. It probably is legitimately the way that a lot of parents probably feel too and stuff. So, again, I think the parents definitely identify with this episode. So it's an interesting thing. Does the target audience, do the children get anything out of this episode? I guess sort of they do, because, well, I mean, the main primary lesson in a way is, don't overbook yourself. If you've already committed to yourself, don't make another commitment on top of it. But I think, but really, it almost was, it's not about spending lots of time, it's about spending quality time, which may not necessarily be really long. I mean, you could, spend, 5 good quality minutes with someone as opposed to spending an hour of just dragging them around, doing errands, it's like they might appreciate that 5 minutes more rather than the hour of just, being dragged around in a shopping cart. And, children do sometimes have to, take care of younger siblings and things, so, that might, so I think there's probably something here for the children, and definitely, again, communication, like, if you're gonna ask someone a big favor, like, could you please watch my kid for, a couple hours or so, it's usually almost basic human decency to, tell them a couple days or something beforehand, or at least give them some kind of warning that you're gonna do, because again, we're all busy, we all have things to do, and sometimes it's, it's a really big burden to just be able to just drop everything and to do something else. So yeah, it's definitely, you definitely gotta give people some kind of notice when you're gonna do something like that. So overall, this episode was okay. It was kind of fun. I mean, it was kind of predictable because I've seen episodes like this before, and I think we all knew this was not gonna end well for Twilight. Basically promising to do all this stuff when she's already got all this other stuff to do. We all knew that wasn't going to end well, but I still think this was a worthwhile episode. It was nice to see Flurry Heart and Shining Armor and Cadence again, seeing them, just being kind of like a family and everything. And we also got to see Spike be, responsible, and we also got another thing about the Royal Guard. Yay. And overall, this episode was okay. Not great, but okay. So that is the end of my afterthought review of A Flurry of Emotions. This is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.